It's now 6:30. I'd like to call to order the Regional Planning Commission business meeting for Thursday, July the 14th, and like I said, at 6:30. As customarily, when we start, I will ask that if you have a cell phone or electronic device, you either turn it off or put it on vibrate. Now we'll go, and I'll ask Commissioner Mills if he'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, sir. Sarah, I'll come to you now for the roll call and determination of quorum.
Mr. Peterman?
Here.
Mr. Servan? Absent. Mrs. Karcher?
Here.
Mr. Galvry?
Here.
Mr. Mills?
Here.
Mr. Davis? Here. Mr. Jester?
Here.
So you have 6 present. You do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. You all have in front of you the agenda for tonight's meeting. Or if there isn't no additions or deletions, I'll entertain a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Here.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Here. Yes.
Gotcha.
Mr. Galvry?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes for all of them.
Mr. Davis? Yes. Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of approving tonight's agenda.
Thank you again. You also have a set of minutes from June the 9th, 2022. You've had time to look over those minutes and see what was in them. If they're okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve in a second.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvry?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Davis? Yes. Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of approving the minutes of June 9th.
Thank you very much. You also have on your agenda listing tonight the levy court action on the commission recommendations. If you have any questions on that particular project, you can contact staff at a later time. We're now going into new business. First thing on the new business tonight is AP-22-02, James East District, a request for approval of the creation of an agricultural preservation area located outside the growth zone overlay district. Customarily, these people don't show up, but it's a great thing to do because it makes our jobs much easier. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Particular project. Denise?
I move that the Regional Planning Commission grant approval of application AP-22-02 to create an agricultural preservation district located outside of the growth zone overlay district. This is based on the recommendation of the Agricultural Preservation Board and the staff recommendation report dated July 7, 2022.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvry?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis? Mr. Davis? Yes. Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of granting approval of application AP-22-02.
Thank you very much, and it's always a great thing to see land going into preservation, and good luck with your project. Number 2 on our new business tonight is CZ-22-04/LC22-11 Gonzales Elasi. Request to amend the zoning map from AR Agricultural Residential to BG General Business to BG General Business located outside the Growth Zone Overlay District. These type of situations come to us a lot with the split zoning, and I apologize if I slayed your name, but I will bring it before the commission at this time for a recommendation. Who would like to make a motion and make a second? Mr. Mills, go ahead.
I move the Regional Planning Commission recommend approval of the ordinance LC 22-11 to amend the zoning map from AR, Agriculture Residential, and BG, General Business, to BG, General Business, located outside the Growth Zone Overlay District. This is based on Exhibit A. Staff recommendation reported dated July the 7th, 2022, Exhibit B. Public hearing testimony dated July the 7th, 2022, and the findings of the facts that A, 9 applications for rezoning in the immediate vicinity have been approved, resulting in 13.222 plus acres of additional BG zoning along Bay Road, which is ultimately change the character of the neighborhood. B, the proposed zoning district is in keeping with the surrounding area. C, the land use strategy map 7-C of the 2018 Kent County Comprehensive Plan indicates that the AR zone portion of the subject site be utilized for low-density residential purposes. However, the land use character of the comprehensive plan provides that compatibility with surrounding land use and availability of infrastructure should have equal weight on evaluating rezoning application.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvery?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis?
Yes for the motion.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of recommending approval of ordinance LC 2211.
Thank you very much. It was the right thing to do, and good luck with your project. We'll now go to our third project under new business. It's LC 22-14, Solar Moratorium Revised. It's an ordinance to amend Kent County Code Volume 1, Chapter 158, Moratoriums, as amended by adding a new subsection relating to acceptance of conditional use site plan applications for public utilities. Solar installations over 50 acres in size. This was passed on to us from the levy court. If you have any questions or later on, you can always talk to Sarah later, but we're going to bring the motion before us now. And somebody would like to make this motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Carvey?
I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommended approval of ordinance LC 22-14, enacting a 3-month moratorium on the acceptance of utility solar installations over 50 acres in size. This is based on Exhibit A, moratorium from the staff dated June 28, 2022. Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated July 7, 2022, and the finding of fact that the moratorium will allow time for potential amendments to the existing solar regulations to be developed and evaluated without additional development pressure.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I think Mr. Mills might have a question.
The question I have, is this an additional 3 months, or does this 3 months start? When does this 3 months start if it's approved?
No, it's actually retroactive to the date of introduction. So June.
It means it goes to levy court for their approval.
All ordinances have to be approved by levy court.
Is that good enough? Okay, motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
No.
Mrs. Karcher?
I was tempted to say yes, but since it's going to go to levy court anyway, I'm going to vote no because I don't understand what's going on, and I don't think it's been very well explained to us why there is a need for another moratorium.
Mr. Galvary?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
This is a kind of a hard one because I'm like the rest, I just don't understand why they need another 3 months. So I'm going to vote no.
Mr. Davis? Mr. Davis?
You calling me?
Yes.
Oh, Davis. Yes to approve, motion.
Mr. Jester?
No, because I'm like the other, some commissioner members, I don't see the need of it, and I think it's a motion in futility.
So you have 2 yeas, 4 nays regarding the motion to approve ordinance LC 2214. I would yield to the county attorney to determine if you need to make an affirmative motion to move forward. So I would yield to Mr. Eliason. The motion failed, so you don't have an active decision to send to the levy court. So the question is, does somebody need to make a reverse motion effectively to deny or to recommend disapproval?
Customarily, when we deny something, don't it go with our denial to it, like it would go to
You
them?
didn't deny, you just didn't vote to approve.
Okay. So what's our attorney say?
Craig? Should they make a motion to simply deny the ordinance or disapprove the ordinance?
I'm having a very difficult time hearing anyone except Mr. Davis, to be honest with you, but anticipating what the issue is, it seems to me that we ought to try to clean this up a bit by considering a motion to recommend denial of this particular application and see how that plays out.
Thank you.
Can another motion be made?
Another motion can be made, and our attorney recommends we clean this up to be able to send it on to levy court. So is there any commissioner here ready to make a new motion on denial?
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Mr. Mills.
Motion that until the levy court gives us a reason for that extension, I'd change my thinking.
So the motion has to be whether we're going to deny LC 2214 or not. That's what the motion has to say. Denise will do it, okay?
I make a motion that, all of us, well, I can't,
Must be the telephone
Yeah.
connection. We'll do
okay.
the best we can, Mr. Davis, and see if you can hear Mrs. Carter as she makes her motion.
I make a motion that LC 22-14 solar moratorium revision be denied for reasons that we have been given minimal, if any, information as to the usefulness of this moratorium.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I repeat that motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Read that motion.
Did Mr. Davis have a question?
So, can you hear me okay, Mr. Davis? Because I know we're having some issues with the phone line.
I can surmise the motion. It was made by Commissioner Carter. She is recommending that the Planning Commission deny ordinance LC 2214 as presented because with lack of information and lack of need of how it should go forward. Is that pretty good, Sarah, what you got written? Are we good? Are we good, Mr. Davis? Okay, Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman,
I vote yes to deny.
Mrs. Karcher,
Yes.
Mr. Galvary,
No.
Mr. Mills,
I'm gonna vote no to, not to deny it, to deny, because the motion saying that we need to deny it, I'm voting no, not to deny it.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Davis,
I vote no. I think, we're trying to tell Levy Court how to write their, ordinances, and I think that's wrong. If we come before the planning commission again, we can see what the final result is, and I don't think proper to, turn it down. I think the thing ought to be moving along and, get some resolved, but I vote no.
Mr. Jester.
I vote yes to deny.
You have 3 yeas and 3 nays regarding the motion to recommend denial, so the motion fails again.
So that would be going as a tie to levy court, is that correct?
Unless someone can persuade another member to change their position, or you wanted to table, I'm at a loss to what to do next. This doesn't clean it up.
Well, if we do table it, it's after we have no meeting in August.
Correct.
So this particular moratorium, if I table it until our September meeting, the date is up anyway. That is kind of a catch-22, but what's our attorney, if it's a tie vote and nobody wants to change, I guess that's the way we send it to levy court.
We can do that.
That's what I recommend as chairman. It goes as a tie to levy court, and it's not denied or approved, and it will go back to levy court with no recommendation from the Regional Planning Commission. Our fourth and final new business tonight is CS-22-03, Amish School, Victory Chapel Road, request for conditional use with a site plan approval of a private educational institution located outside the growth zone overlay district. They came here and made a great presentation, their engineer did, and they had a great plan for the kids, and we all know that that's what this world is about, educating our young so they can then take over the positions that hopefully we haven't done away with or messed up in our lifetime. So I will now present this to the commission, and who would like to make the motion? Mr. Peterman?
I make a motion that on CS 22-03, I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommend conditional approval of application CS 22-03, a conditional use site plan for the private educational institution located outside the growth zone overlay district. This is based on Exhibit A, staff recommendation report dated July 7, 2022, Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated July 7, 2022, and the findings of the fact that the subject site is Zone AR Agriculture Residential and Code 2205-64 and 205-327 permit private educational institution as a conditional use. B, the location is appropriate and not in conflict with the comprehensive plan. C, the public health, safety, and general welfare will not be adversely affected. Pursuant to Chapter 187 and 205 of the Kent County Code and pursuant to 9 Delaware Code 4802 and 4811, the Commission has reviewed the application and the July 7, 2022 staff recommendation report. And furthermore, as a part of this approval, the applicant shall comply with all staff and agency requirement as described in the July 7, 2022 staff recommendation report. The on-site septic system shall be sized for maximum occupancy, and a letter of no objection from Denerac is required prior to a final site plan approval. A letter of no objection from DelDOT is required prior to final site plan approval. If DelDOT approves the shared entrance for this use, an ingress easement agreement must be recorded with the Kent County Office of Recorder of Deeds. A letter of no objection from Delaware Health and Social Service, Division of Public Health, Office of Public Drinking Water is required prior to final site approval for this on-site well.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes, to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvary?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis?
Yes, to approve.
Mr. Jester?
Yes to approve.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of recommending conditional approval of application CS 2203.
Thank you very much, commissioners, and we wish you great success with your project for educating the children. Thank you. We now go down to the election of officers. The first one is the election of chairperson, of which I presently own, and because I'm sitting in the seat, I'm going to pass it on to Commissioner Karcher here to my left to run the election for this particular nomination.
So, are there any nominations? This is for chairperson for the upcoming year.
Yes, I nominate.
Go ahead, Miss. Yes, Mr. Davis.
Second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, I guess we take a vote. It's closed.
The nominations, and I can call roll.
All right, Mr. Jester, take over.
Thank you for your confidence in me. Mr. Davis, thank you for nominating me, and I will try to uphold that position with your utmost confidence. And like I said, I'm always open for discussion, so please contact me if you have any questions. We now go down to vice chairperson on the commission. I will open up the nominations for that.
I nominate Glenn.
I have Mr. Galvary is nominated. Is there any other nominations for that position?
I nominate Paul Davis.
I have a nomination of Mr. Paul Davis. I have 2 nominations, so what we'll have to do is we'll have to make a ballot, and I'll ask Mark if you would pick up the ballots, make sure everybody has a piece of paper, and write on the. I assume nominations are going to be closed after those 2. Am I correct?
Did you close nominations?
That's what we're doing, working on it now. Is the nominations closed after those 2 nominations? Commissioners, I need a closure of the nominations.
Yes. Second.
Okay, I have it, and I have it closed. I do have a question for the attorney. Mr. Davis is presently our vice chair. He's allowed to vote. How can he vote when we're doing written nominations? I'll ask our attorney. Mark, would you ask Mr. Davis if he's comfortable with the nomination?
So, Mr. Jester, if you could. Oh, Commissioner Davis, hold on for 1 second, if you would. If you could announce who's been nominated so that Mr. Davis can hear.
The 2 nominations we have for vice chairman is Mr. Galvary down here, and we have Mr. Davis. So we have 2 nominations to vote for, and now I ask Mark, if you'll ask Mr. Davis if he's comfortable saying his choice out loud, or what he would like to do.
Mr. Davis, are you comfortable stating your choice for the nominations out loud over the phone? Commissioner Davis? Are you comfortable stating your nominations for vice chair out loud?
I have a question. Can we put this nomination off until September? Yeah, I think with Mr. Davis attending and him having to say something on the phone and not understanding us, the nominations will stay in place until our September meeting. We will get that put back on the agenda, so there will be clarification on it. So make sure that Mr. Davis knows that we're going to postpone these particular 2 nominated candidates to our September meeting. Do I need a motion for that, Sarah, or can I just make that decision myself? I entertain a motion from our commissioners.
I make a motion that we delay the vote for the vice chairman until the September meeting, seeing as we do not have a meeting in August, so that we can have, hopefully, all 7 of us here for the vote.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvary?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
What's the motion?
To postpone the vote on the vice chair until September.
The September meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Whatever the rest of them, it's hard to hear, so whatever, I'll just say yes, better watch it, yes, no problem.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of postponing the election of the vice chair until the September meeting.
Thank you, commissioners. I think that straightened it out, and hopefully all 7 of us will be present at our September meeting. We get down now to other commission comments. Is there any commissioners have anything they'd like to say? Go ahead. Denise has a
I
question.
just have a question. It's from Mr. Gonzalez. How do we say the first name? Elise? Thank you.
Well, I didn't do too bad then, I guess. So, seeing there's no other commissioner comments or anything, I will hold on. Who has a comment? Is there anybody on the phone that has a comment?
Commissioner Davis had a comment. He wanted to make a. Commissioner Davis, you can go ahead and make your comments now. Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. I think they're still continuing to have phone troubles here in the building. I think that was part of the problem and how it was done. So I think Denise also has something she'd like to say.
Yeah, I have a question of staff. Until we had the pandemic, this was not really an option, was it? Am I correct?
You are correct.
So I guess what I'm wondering, has anything been written with regards to utilizing Zoom now that, things are open? And I'm not just asking for the Regional Planning Commission, because I'm asking for any of the areas.
Nothing official has been put in writing at this point. The county continued to use it once we opened up because it allows some amount of flexibility, primarily for the public, but also for commissioners.
Is this an issue that should be brought in front of Levy Court?
I think, the principal issue right now is technical difficulties that IT is doing everything they possibly can to resolve.
And I understand that.
But in terms of considering a policy, that would be the purview of Levy Court.
I thank you very much, and I think we all know the great job Mark does. I certainly wouldn't be into IT and all the way things have been today. Everybody blames everything on COVID, but I think we are extremely lucky to have somebody like him and his caliber of what he can do here for us. We've gone through so much. Did I have the motion brought up about adjournment, or have we voted yet?
Not yet.
Second.
We had a motion and a second, but we haven't voted on it, correct?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
We've already got the motion and the second. Sarah, just for my benefit, and because I'm probably going to have to go back to my senior center after tonight's meeting, the way things have been going, would you just call the commissioners again one more time for the adjournment, please?
Certainly. Mr. Peterman,
Yes to adjourn.
Mrs. Karcher,
Yes, to adjourn.
Mr. Galvery,
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Mills,
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Jester.
Yes to adjourn. Thank you all for your being here tonight, and thank you, our public, for putting up with us. I think this was really some meeting, so the meeting is now adjourned.